Hi everyone, thank you for requesting your free gift and welcome to this short presentation. Are you ready to escape? So I'm guessing if you responded to my post, it's because at some point you're thinking about doing something different or escaping from the corporate rat race. So you're a corporate employee who might one day want to escape from the rat race and live a more tranquil, meaningful and positive life. So I'm going to run through 4 ways that you can start to plan your escape. And before we get started, I would like to invite you to grab a few pieces of paper and a pen, because we'll be running through some exercises and you might find it useful to jot down your notes as we go through and then reflect on them. So let's get started. So 4 ways to plan your escape. Here's Ratty. He pops up in a few of my presentations and he'll go on our journey with us today. So apologies if you've got a rodent phobia. The Ratty is there trying to escape. So a little bit about me. My name's Emma Nichols, and I escaped from the rat race about 6 years ago, actually in 2015. I've been a bit backwards and forwards into corporate roles, but now I am living in this beautiful southwest of France in the Gers. I actually bought a very small chambre d'hôte with a beautiful garden, a beautiful swimming pool, with the idea that I would run a number of businesses from France. The pandemic happened during my sort of transition into this life, and so I had to adapt quite a lot of different situations. I have worked in interim roles. I have worked for different clients doing different things. I've obviously over the years since I set up my coaching business, which I first did in 2016 in a company called Your Red Dress, I've done obviously a lot of coaching as well. But today I've got a portfolio career. So especially during the summer, I am hosting guests here, which I absolutely love, in my chambre d'hôte. I'm also hosting retreat guests who come here for a few days of complete tranquility, a bit of yoga, perhaps maybe some Tai Chi, silent walks in the forest, etc. I also work for a client, doing some learning and development work. And I also run my signature Sunflower Transformation System, which is a coaching program for people that want to escape the rat race. So that's a little bit about me. So I'm going to run through the 4 ways that you can start to plan your escape. So the first way is to really think about what frustrates you currently about your corporate role and what could you change now. So sometimes it's really helpful to kind of do a bit of a root cause analysis. So what frustrates you and why? And once you've done the why, what could you change now? So let's think about an example. So one thing could be, let's just say you've got something that's, you've got a relationship at work that's quite difficult. And I'll just call this individual Jean-Pierre, because that's a name that comes into my head. So the thing that really frustrates you is Jean-Pierre seems to be interrupting you a lot in meetings, not supporting your ideas. You feel a bit like an imposter. You don't necessarily agree with the direction he's taking in the company in. And that could be one thing. So that's a kind of a now thing that you could probably deal with. So what could you change now? Well, there's a load of stuff, I guess, that you could think about changing. Do some work on your own confidence, work on your own posture, have a conversation with Jean-Pierre, think about more extreme transitioning to a different team, etc., etc. But then there's other things that might frustrate you, like the long commute, the lack of flexibility. And there are things that are perhaps personal to you, but also perhaps embedded in the corporate culture, and that you really can't do anything about them right now. So you're trying to plan your escape route. And my biggest frustration, I think, from reflection about being in a corporate role. So I used to be very angry sometimes about things that were happening, about, you know, some of the chauvinistic behaviors in the organization, or the lack of opportunity to progress. And actually the root cause was not the organization per se. The root cause was me, because having done quite a lot of work with clients on career drivers and things that motivate, which I'll talk a bit about in a bit later on in the presentation, I now know that one of my biggest motivators is autonomy and creativity. And so I was always frustrated with the lack of autonomy, the lack of always being able to progress creative ideas that I had that perhaps didn't fit with the organization. And that's life, right? So knowing that has really helped me move to where I am today. And when I work with my clients, we do quite a lot of work on career drivers and what that means and how that will impact where you escape to and what you do. So what frustrates you now and what could you change now? So I've done quite a lot of research about this topic, and here's some of the things that have come up in the research. So people have fallen out of love with their corporate job. The other thing that comes up quite a lot is the whole kind of thing about dreading Mondays or whatever the first day of the week for you is. Do you dread Thursdays or at Saturdays, whatever it is? Have you got that Sunday evening feeling of you just think, oh no, anxiety when you go to sleep? I know for sure I've had that a lot in the past. Do you feel like you could do so much more? You want to save the planet. You want to give something back. Are you frustrated with being time bound to somebody else's agenda? I have a big problem with that. I'm happy to be really time bound to my own schedule and my client's schedule. But when it comes to an organizational schedule, it's like, oh, why have they put a meeting at 6 o'clock? And I've got a 2-hour commute home. With some of the things I used to feel. Are you restricted in what you can do? So you've got limited opportunity to be creative. That was a big thing for me, and it comes across quite a lot in the interviews that I've been conducting. Are you just fed up with corporate policies and jumping through hoops to get things done? You know, you submit a paper for a proposal to get some funding to do something, and 3 weeks later you haven't heard anything, you moved on to something else, and it's just not quick enough for you. Have you got politics fatigue? Is that kind of wheeling and dealing and stuff? It's just tiring. And have you got no work-life flexibility, or is it a perception that you've got no work-life flexibility? And are you bored with being told what to do? Has your boss got expectations that you should progress and take over his job or her job one day? But actually, you don't have that sort of ambition. You want to do something completely different. Let's go back to saving the planet. And have you got no autonomy, which is a big thing for me. So think about your own frustrations and make a list and hold on to them, as that can be really useful. So some of the frustrations you have on your list, perhaps you can do something about now. And hey, come and talk to me if you've got something on that list that you want to explore as how you're going to find a solution to it. But there will be other more fundamental things on that list that will need a plan and a program to take you forward into escaping. Here's the second way to plan your escape. So this is a little bit about dreaming. And what I would suggest you do is, once I've run through this exercise with you, to pause the video and pause the presentation and go away and just do this. Do this for 20 minutes, 50 minutes, however long it takes you. Okay, so just to dream with no constraints. So the exercise is you close your eyes and you dream about the happiest time in your life. And you listen to the sounds running through your mind, and you see the vision of what was happening. You know, were there people? Were you by an ocean? Can you hear the waves? Can you hear the chatter of the people? Can you hear birds? Wherever you are, what was the happiest time? And by this time, as you're getting into that vision, you should start to feel a big smile come onto your face. So you close your eyes, you tilt your head back, and you think about the happiest time in your life. And you really feel that where you are. Try to get all the senses going, even if you can touch the air to see what was happening at that time. And then once you've done that, close your eyes again and then dream your dream life. Imagine you are in your dream life. What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What are you touching? What are you smelling? What are you hearing? Where are you? And imagine there's no constraints. So what our minds will do is they'll pop in all these constraints. They'll go, yeah, but you haven't got enough money to do that. Yeah, but your family wouldn't buy into that. Your partner wouldn't like that, etc., etc. So we can try to open our mind when we've got no constraints and we can do anything we wanted to do, and we're going to dream that dream. And then once we've got into that, once we've opened our eyes, we're going to write down some of the key things that were in that vision that we had in our mind. So what would you be saying? What would you be hearing? What would you be smelling? What would you be seeing? So that's the second way to plan your escape. Third way is to think about you, your assets, your skills, but not about your job. So we tend to go, if we've moved jobs, in the past, we tend to look at our CV, what we do, and we go to try to find something similar, or we try to find something that's the next step up. And sometimes we go for the next step down because we're trying to escape to tranquility. That's not always the case. So what I'd like you to think about is, don't think about your job or your roles, but what skills you have. So for example, with me, I've got a very strong customer service ethic. I love helping people when they come to my chambre d'hôte, my retreats. I really, really, really want to make them feel happy. That makes me happy. So that's a skill. It's networking. I love to network. Before the pandemic, I used to go to a lot of events, stand on stage, talk to people on coffee breaks, have lunch, etc. Love talking to people, love finding out about their problems, what they want to do, where they want to go, etc., etc. And I would also say determination is another really strong skill that I've got. So I'm really determined. When I've got my mind set on something, I'm really determined. And I'm usually pretty optimistic. And I've got a very good friend that whenever I have a little wobble of, that's never going to work. Oh, how am I going to pay the tax bill? Priority number one, pay the tax bill. She would say to me, it always works out in the end for you, Emma, because you're so determined and you're always optimistic. And the final thing really for me is another skill is that I always ask for help. So if I'm stuck somewhere, I would go to my network. I will ask all the amazing people and contacts I've got and say, please help me. And I'll also invest money in help if I need to, because that's important. So I want you to think about your skills, not your jobs you've had in the past or you've got now, or your roles, but think about what skills you've got and how they might be transferable to your dream life. What things can you put in your backpack to take with you on your journey? And so the fourth way you can start to plan your escape is to think about what motivates you. So we've got some pictures here just as an example. But could it be that you really want to be with other people? You love being part of a team. So escaping to something like I've done, where I'm living in the middle of nowhere in a very rural place. I speak pretty average, bad French. I'm not fluent. So I'm pretty now self-equipped with being alone and working as a solo entrepreneur or solopreneur. Can't say that. But if you really crave a buzz of an office or being with loads of people, then that's important for you. And you need to write that down to say, that really motivates me. I need to do something where I'm with others. Hey, let's talk about money. So in my coaching programs, we always talk about money. And I bring in an expert to help with our relationship with money and what that means when you're planning an escape. So is it money that really motivates you? I mean, I left a job where I was on a 6-figure salary, loads of benefits, and that still wasn't enough because I didn't have the passion for it that I had when I first started. And what are you passionate about? What things really excite and inspire you? Is it saving the planet? Is it working with others to help the community? Is it about running your own business? Is it about networking across the world? Is it about travel? What are your passions? Is it sport, exercise? I mean, my niece went to San Francisco, left a really, really big job in the city as a trader, FX trader. And she was running spin classes. And she is like the fittest woman. Like, to me, she's like super fit. And that's what she does. Absolutely loves it. And the final picture over there at the bottom is about variety. Is variety important to you? Do you prefer to do one thing consistently? Or do you like to jump around like I do? Lots of different things. Do you want a portfolio career? So piece of paper again, invite you to write down the things you think motivate you. Being part of a team, money, status, academic achievement, being valued, saving the planet, being completely disruptive, having loads of variety, never knowing what's coming up next, so the anticipation of excitement, etc. So they were the 4 little exercises just to run through to start to prepare you to plan your escape. So are you ready? So I'll be doing a free training event in November where I'll be doing a lot of this stuff in more detail, and we'll do some more exercises. So I invite you to keep in touch. And just as a quick recap from today's short presentation, hopefully these are some quick wins for you. There's Ratty again. So you've now looked at all your frustrations and perhaps identified some things that you could tackle now. And as I said before, the invitation is there. Please send me a direct message and we can have a quick chat about maybe some of those frustrations and how you're going to deal with them now. But the bigger ones, that's part of the planning session that we've just done. So what's the vision of your dream life? What did you write down on that piece of paper? What's the list of your skills that you could take with you into your future? And what are your motivators? What are the things that really get you going? So thank you so much from me and Ratty. And I'm an Escape the Rat Race coach, and I'm helping corporate employees to escape the rat race and live a more tranquil, meaningful and positive life. Thank you so much for listening, and hope to see you soon. Take care and bye-bye.